My name is Chad Murray. I'm the president of Your Credit Coach, where I empower people to master their credit by transforming their lives. And in our last live video that we did last week, I went over a few points. One of those points was to make sure to never co-sign for anybody. I gave a few tips as to what you can do if you're looking to help somebody who doesn't have established credit to build credit quickly, so that you don't put yourself at risk of having somebody drive off with your credit. Because the moment that you co-sign for somebody and they get the keys in the car, they've driven off with your credit and there's nothing you can do. All right, so that's the one thing that we discussed. Another thing that we discussed was to automate everything, set it and forget. With your credit card statements, with your credit card bills, you want to get all of your statements on the same page, on the same date, as well as, and this is a very major point that a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know that, so I'm actually going to be sharing it a lot more. Have all of your bills set to have the reporting date synchronized. And then from there, you want to have all of your bills paid 3 days before, have it automated and synchronized to 3 days before. The reasoning behind that is that after you've made your payment, right, before you actually go on your splurge, before you actually go ahead and take care of any other spending, you're going to pay the balance down. So in doing so, when it reports 3 days after, it's going to be at its lowest point. Another thing that we discussed was to do two other things. We had such a great conversation. I don't remember everything, okay? So just let me rock. But those are the two things, at least two things I remember from last week. Here with my boy Fred. How are we looking over there, Fred? Okay, so he wants me to keep on going in the meantime. The one thing, I actually did get a question today. How do you actually set your reporting dates to be on the same page? And that's a great question. What you want to do is you want to call up each and every one of your credit card companies and find out what the reporting date is, okay? Once you know what the reporting date is, you want to make sure and be very mindful and intentional about when you're setting your automatic payments for, because you want to do it at the beginning of the month, but definitely around when you know you're going to have the money available to be able to have it automatically taken out of your account without putting you under pressure financially. So that's very, very important that you do that. But in doing so, you're going to have, let's say that your statement date is the 16th for your American Express and the 10th for your Chase card. You want to put everything maybe at around the 5th and make your payment by the 2nd. And in doing so, your balance is the lowest on the 2nd. So when the 5th comes in and reports, you're going to get the highest mark with Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, because now your credit limit is still what it is, but the balance is as low as possible. And in doing so, this is just a quick way to just automatically gain points on your credit without doing anything different from what you normally do. Got it? So that's a real simple and easy tip to actually manage your credit without even having to think about it. So just call them up. You want to speak to the customer service department or the billing department, I believe. Call them up and ask for the reporting date and be intentional about having them move it. You might even have to follow up with them, because I found that unless it's you calling to give them money, they're kind of like iffy about actually doing their jobs in some cases. So make sure that you're persistent and you make sure that you get those dates set up so that you maximize your credit. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my brother, my great friend and my client, Fred P. Banny, to the couch.
Yes, sir. What's going on, brother?
Shannon, I'm still in that.
Hey, everyone.
Shannon Van Ness, I'm still in that, right? But yeah, this is my boy Fred, and he's an awesome brother. He's an engineer and a motivational speaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to you, Fred, and if you could tell, what has been your experience with credit up to this point, and what had you give me a call?
Oh, well, hey, everyone. Like Chad said, my name is Fred Banny, and I'm just going to go directly to this question. My experience with credit has been great, but as you know, you go along in life, and sometimes life throws you some curveballs, and you need to go to someone who can assist you, right? So a few months ago, I recently purchased a new car, And about a month and a half ago, I realized.
Hold on, so you got a new car for yourself?
Not for my wife.
Oh, look at that! And they say that there aren't any more good men out there.
Oh yeah, you have to take care of the ladies first, absolutely.
But there are. You're gone. You're off the market.
Oh yeah, yes sir, yes
Oh
sir.
man,
Happily
too
gone.
bad, ladies.
Right.
Shucks.
It's crazy. But anyway, so wow, that's chat for you, right? So I recently got a car, right? So about a month and a half ago, I realized I was checking my credit and I got this alert, and my score had went down, dropped about 40 points.
Say what?
I know. So I was like, whoa, this is impossible because I pay my bills on time. I got things set up pretty right. And what's going on? So first person I thought to call, Chad Murray, because I'm gonna tell you, you guys probably know, but if you don't know, you need to know. This gentleman right here, he's brilliant at what he does, and I'm blessed to have him in my circle. So anything credit related or just to bounce ideas off, So, and this is a credit issue, so got off the phone. I was like, listen, Chad, I gotta talk to you. So we met up, and I told him the situation. Like, listen, card score just dropped 40 points. It's ridiculous. It was really bothering me because it's not in congruence with my identity. So we spoke about, and that's a major point. We're going to get back to it later. So I told him, listen, my score dropped 40 points.
So let me ask you a question. So that was about a month and a half, almost 2 months ago, right?
Yeah, about a month and a half to a month ago, yeah.
So let me just explain how that works, okay? So when you actually get a new debt, for example, let's use a car. When you actually get a new car, what happens is that it's almost like a double whammy because first and foremost, two of the 5 factors that go into what a credit score is derived from, well, I'll give you the 5, which is payment history, length of credit, new credit, amounts owed, and utilization rate. So in this particular case, when you actually get a new debt, especially a car, what's happening is when you buy a car, let's say that you get a car for $20,000, you put down $5,000, you're going to be extended a line of credit for $15,000, right? So on your credit report, it's going to show a balance of $15,000 and a credit limit of $15,000. So in terms of your utilization rate, you're at 100%. So this is definitely in that regard very negative. But don't forget, this is also going to be considered a new line of credit. Now, new credit, usually as soon as it comes onto your report, with the exception of a few items that I actually have access to, and if you will actually drop your score before you actually build it up. So new credit would generally drop your score before it goes up. There are a few things, again, like I mentioned before. I mentioned how you could use jewelry to build your credit right away. That's one of those items, and there are a few other things, but generally speaking, rule of thumb. So in this case, you actually get hit twice because now you have the high utilization rate and you have the new line of credit. And that new line of credit is like a shock to your credit because here your credit is going, you're paying everything on time, and whoa, here's this new big item that's throwing things off. So the first response is for your credit score to drop.
Right.
And the reason why it's so bad is, like I said before, it's like a double whammy. It's like, you're married, right? So it's like being sent to go sleep on the couch, right? So you lose the comfort of your bed, you have to sleep on a lumpy couch, and you're not getting none. So it's like a 2-for-1 deal. So,
yeah, I'm not going to stop experiencing that, but you got a point.
So it's like a 2-for-1 deal. So in this case, the utilization rate and the new line of credit are both working against you with a brand new car. Okay? So what happened after that?
So, well, the interesting thing is, so I spoke to Chad, and we had a great conversation, and exactly what he explained to you, he explained that to me. And he was like, listen, just relax, because, you do your things on time, so no need to worry. And the reason why it was bothering me, like I said, because it's not incongruent with my identity. But about 2-3 days ago, I went to check my credit score again, and boom, it went back up 27 points. Excellent. And I really didn't do much about it, but some key things that he spoke about in his last broadcast, as far as automation, and also calling the synchronization of your reporting date and your due date. So those are keys. So I actually called all my, all the institutions, and I got the information, and this is key. a lot of the time, some people will be on here saying, "Oh, I already know this," right? A lot of things we know conceptually.
Absolutely.
But do we do it? It's another point. So that's why people have coaches, and that's why people have people to talk to, you know, counselors and mentors, because we don't always do what we know to do. You know, common sense is not always common. So I had some things automated, but I didn't have everything. And depending on where you want to go, you can leave any stones unturned.
Absolutely.
So just having that conversation with Chad, it was just kind of, you know, a motivation. Like, listen, you need to close some things, or you need to close the doors to certain things.
Whoa. Don't say close up things, because
No,
I don't know what you guys
Oh, yeah,
do.
no, not close
Never
up your
close
card.
up your lines of credit. Don't do it.
No, not that.
Oh, okay.
Meaning that.
Tie up some loose ends.
There you go.
Make sure that you're on point.
Exactly.
Okay, cool, good.
Better expression.
All right.
No, don't close up your cards.
Don't
That's
close up
important.
the
Your
cards.
line of history is very important.
Absolutely.
Because that contributes to your score. So I checked and it went up. You know, basically up. So.
And the way that works is that a major thing in credit is called credit behavior.
Right.
Okay? So if you aren't over 30 days late on a bill, it's not going to report that you were late, and it's not going to drive your credit down. But if you're consistently paying after your due date, the credit bureaus pick up on that, and it's something that does weigh your credit down slightly. But with whatever habits you actually develop, it reflects in your credit report. So in the event of a new car and your credit score goes down, if you go back to showing consistent credit behavior, and the time frame is 90 days. So if you had a rough patch, the time frame to catch up and be on point is 90 days. So be consistent for 90 days and beyond. I mean, that is how much time you need to build a new habit, right? Or is it 30?
Well, it said 21. What?
Well,
21 to 30
90 days
yeah.
is exactly where you want to be consistent. Show that consistency, and it's going to drive your credit forward. All right?
Absolutely.
So with that being said, I actually wanted to go, we spoke about why a new item on your credit report will drive it down. And another reason why it will drop the score down is because you'll also be giving an inquiry on your credit report.
Sure.
So when you open up new lines of credit, when they run your credit, it's going to show up on your credit report as an inquiry. A very important thing about inquiries, if you're shopping for a home, make sure and shop for as many loan applications within a 30 to 45 day time frame, because at that point, the inquiries, no matter how many you pick up that are home loan related, they're not going to hurt your credit. So feel free to do it for a mortgage within 45 days. However, credit cards, when you are always shopping for new lines of credit, there's very little that you can do from hurting yourself. You do want to spread it out as much as possible at that point, because then you don't look as if it's a mad scramble for new credit. Got it? Okay, cool. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was budgeting, okay? Now, Fred and I, we went over his credit report. As I do with all of my customers, what we do is we go over a credit report, and we also go over a debt snowball worksheet, which is in the link to this video. So if you click the link, you'll get your own debt snowball worksheet. And what that is, it's a worksheet that shows you how to pay off your debt most effectively and efficiently, starting with adding your smallest bills all the way down to the largest, paying off the largest on the smallest one first, and building momentum to pay off all of it and leave yourself debt-free as soon as possible. If you want a free coaching call, you could also sign up through that link, and I'll be able to go through the debt snowball. We could work on building your budget. And the reason why I think that it's very important for us to talk about budgeting, right, is because first and foremost, if we're talking about credit, it's not just the technique or trying to get your score up, right, because we want to have long-lasting effects on your life. We don't want this to be something where I get your score up today, and then 6 months from now, you're like, hey, Chad, you know, I got this new car, but I'm back in the same issues. And believe me when I tell you, I can't even tell you how many customers have come back time and time again because we weren't focusing on the foundation, on the fundamentals. So fundamentally speaking, this is where you start, because the way that you actually plan with your budget, it's like managing your credit, right? But it's not just managing a credit score, but it's also how you manage your life and how you manage, more importantly, your dreams.
Talk about it.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
That's good.
How you manage your dreams. Because let's say that you want to retire in 15 years or 20 years, whatever it is. If it's not in your budget, it's not going to happen. The money's not just going to magically appear. If you want to travel around the world, yeah, you could be irresponsible and take a lump sum of money from some place that you're not supposed to take it from, some retirement account or whatever. But if you put it in your budget, it becomes a part of your lifestyle. That means that you're sacrificing other things so that you could put towards what you really want. And what I really like to have people focus on when it comes to budgeting is, I don't want you to give up what you want most for what you want now.
Come on.
Right? Because ultimately it's going to be a question of, is it going to be this or is it going to be that? And ultimately, you get to live the life that you declare and that you choose, but it's going to come down to if you're planning for it day in and day out, month in and month out. All right? But back to the lecture at hand. Yeah, can you imagine Snoop had the audacity to say back to the lecture at hand? Like, he's a rapper, not a professor, but anyway, back to the lecture at hand. So, so we started talking about budgeting, right?
Oh, man.
So, in your case, Fred, I know that we spoke about, you recently got married last year.
Right.
So a lot of your this year has been to pretty much rebuild, right? And to really start to build towards the next goal. How much money are you putting aside every single month for your motivational speaking career, your speaking career?
Well, I'll tell you this, and Chad knows this. I believe the biggest investment you can make is in yourself. You know, so monthly I'll say 200, because I love books, but I budget money aside for my.
So a lot of books, bro.
Yeah, but that's just not on books, but anything like seminars or workshops, and different things that I may need that can equip me and better equip me to be effective and efficient at what it is that I do. Because for me, this is a life calling. This is just not a career. What I do, I'm an engineer by trade. I'm an engineer by career, but I'm a purpose-driven person by design. What that means, what I do, and I help people discover their purpose and maximize their potential. That's what I do. So, helping you find out what it is.
What do you build?
I build people. I build people. I build lives. And it's a whole thing. We're gonna get into that for another time because we're speaking about credit right now. But really, we weren't made just for jobs. You understand what I'm saying? We weren't made for jobs. We were made to do something great. And I believe there's potential, there's giftings within us all. And your gift is your greatness. So what I do, I coach people, I help people maximize every area of their life. Be it if you're an entrepreneur, business, your relationships, your personal life, every area. So we work on that and find out what it is that makes you take your passions and the things that really bring meaning and fulfillment to your life, because that's what life really is about. So getting back to the lecture at hand.
I want to just recap quickly. So we spoke about the need to incorporate what you want in your life in your budget. If you feel like a $60 octopus dinner is important to you weekly, then make sure and put it in your budget. And if it doesn't fit, maybe do it once a month, right? But be responsible about what you're putting in your budget and realizing that something has to go if something is important to you. Something, just like they say, if it's important to you, it would be in your calendar.
Right.
So like your budget is like the calendar of your money.
Right.
Essentially, right?
Right.
And we also spoke about automating everything and also how new credit could impact your credit report. But as we were speaking about budgeting for your dreams, and Fred mentioned how he's putting money aside for his dream of being a speaker, let's see how good he is. I'm trying to put you on the spot, brother, but again, like, it's important that we don't just talk about being great at what we want to be great at. It's important that we exercise that muscle. So do you mind giving us a couple of minutes?
So absolutely, this is what I do. So absolutely.
Oh, excuse me.
So
all right.
no, I'm messing with you. But no, I'm just going to keep it in the vein of what we're speaking about. And like Chad talks about, it's not about building just your credit score. Life is about choices, and we get to choose the life. We get to design the life that we want to live, and it's about habits. Your habits are either going to take you towards your dreams, or your habits are going to be the thing that leads to your downfall. So. And what Chad does, that's why, I support him greatly, because he doesn't just focus on your score, but it's helping you with the mind shift, the mindset, because as the man thinketh, so is he. We become what we think about. In life, your thoughts create your world. Your thoughts create your reality, because before something can come into physical existence, you have to think it. And those thoughts is going to lead to your actions, which is going to lead to your results, right? So that's the mindset. That's what he does. So I'm just going to stay in that vein and let you know that developing positive habits is what's going to help you get to where you need to go. And in pursuit of your dreams, you have to be patient. Patience is so key, because oftentimes we think life is linear. We think life is a straight line. But, you know, I've learned in my experience on my journey in life that you have to embrace the crooked path. You know, because we have plans. We have plans. I want to do this, you know, chronological, progressively. I want to do these things in certain order. But life happens. And for me, I'm a man of God. I'm a person of faith. And my faith is my engine, is what drives me. And that's what I was speaking about, purpose, because God's purposes always prevail over your plans. Because he had thoughts for you in mind before you were even made. He's your creator. So before you create anything, right, think about it. Before anything is created, the creator has a specific reason or purpose in mind why he's making that thing. So just like you and I, Chad, we were created. Before we were made, God has something in mind for us to do. So as much as we plan our lives, we need to seek his guidance and seek him for what it is that we were made to do. Because I believe you could be a successful failure. Think about it. You get into the end of your life doing all these things. Doesn't matter how much money you amass. Only to find out that the thing you were born to do, you didn't do it. You know, can I paint? I could paint. But I wasn't designed to paint. So it doesn't matter how much money I make painting. It's not going to bring me fulfillment. So I just encourage you, as you pursue different things in life, pursue purpose. Because purpose is what's going to lead to your legacy. And that is the thing that's going to be left way after you're gone. And that's us getting ahead of ourselves. But we have to choose every waking moment that I'm going to go after this thing. And how do you know that you really want something? It's passion. Whatever you desire, you're going to pursue it. And passion comes out. Passion gives you that energy and that force. And it's all about habits, man. It's all about habits. What are your habits in the morning? You can't say, I want a job, and you sleep in, late at night. You got to get on your grind. So whatever it is that you're looking at as far as credit is related, because this is Chad's show, this is Chad broadcast, so I'm going to keep it in that vein. Talk to this gentleman. Not only because he is my friend, and he's not paying me to do this. He's brilliant at what he does. And we need information. This wisdom, this knowledge, and this understanding. My favorite book, the Bible, talks about, wisdom is the principal thing. But in all you're getting, get understanding. You need the information. The information is the knowledge. Chad has that. He has knowledge, and he has wisdom as well. And he has understanding, because this is what he does. So you get the knowledge, right? And wisdom is the skillful application of the knowledge.
Yes.
But understanding is what connects the two. Understanding is you realizing how does this knowledge relate to me, applying it in a way that it serves me at an optimal level.
That reminds me of something that one of our good friends, Jason Lee, says, and I think that is really fitting for what Fred is saying, and really fitting for how we go about moving in our lives. Proper information plus application equals transformation. So now that you have the information on what to do with these items with your credit, it's a matter of applying it and being consistent and being diligent and making sure that you do these things, and the transformation will come. So like Fred said, I don't focus on the score. It's not important to me. I always tell my clients to get your credit report from annualcreditreport.com. When you get it for free, you're allowed one free credit report a year. They don't give you a score, but that's okay. If you want your score, you can go to creditkarma.com. It gives you a score. It's not the most accurate, but it's good enough to give you a pulse of where you are, right? But once we actually I give you the proper information, and you apply it, transformation is to come. It's going to happen.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Right? There's a Chinese proverb that says, wherever you're going, you're going to end up there. It's that simple.
Pretty simple.
You know, so whatever direction you're facing and you keep going, you're going to end up there. So forget the school. Once you build the right habits and you're applying and doing the necessary things, the good things, you're going to land at, you know, a beautiful place. But you just have to go through the process. And I just want to stress this point too, that you have to be patient. And when my score dropped, when I called Chad, and he was like, bro, just relax. You know, the reason why, and I spoke about it earlier, the reason why is because, you know, we have identity, how we view ourselves,
Yes.
our self-concept. So if things in your life is not incongruent or in alignment with your self-concept, this easement happens. So I wasn't happy with it because I wasn't identifying with that. Because I hold myself, that's another thing too. We have to raise our standard. That's the quickest way to have transformation in your life. You have to raise the minimums. Practical way to apply that. If you always wait for your car to get on E before you get gas, pretend in your mind that half is no way till it goes to empty. As soon as it gets to half or even a quarter, you know, depending on circumstance, right? You do that. So you raise your standard. So when I saw that, I was like, Chad, listen, man, this is really bothering me. Like, yo, I can't believe how my score just dropped. He was like, bro, just relax. Just relax. It's going to take this course and it's going to happen.
It's like life.
It's like life. I know patience, but I needed him in that moment to remind me. So that's why we need coaching. That's why we need good friends. We need good counsel. Because sometimes, in every moment, at times we lose our wits. And you need, you know, a trusted friend, a coach, or somebody in your corner who can kind of bring you back to reality. Like, hey, this is not the end of the world, you know. Just relax. It's going to get back. So be patient because you're going to have some good days and you're going to have some rough days. But just know, in it all, the totality of it, you're going to end up in the positive. So be patient with whatever it is that you're doing and just build that positive habits, the good habits. Your habit is not going to betray you. Well, it's either going to support you or betray you, depending on the type of habits you develop, right?
All right. So my brother Fred, it was an absolute honor to have you here. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, sir.
I hope that you guys were able to get some jewels and some nuggets that would help you in both your credit life and your habitual life, right? And your spiritual life. You dropped a sermon on us, right? But that was dope. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. And remember, always keep learning. Never stop giving because service is love. Thank you for letting me serve you.